Everyone, Maurice, and welcome to Tanks Invest, where we talk about investing, finance, and professional development. For today's video, entertainment purposes only. The stock we'll talk about today will be Palantir, ticker PLTR. So it's been a while since I last covered Palantir, and with respect to Palantir, for just this past week and month so far, it's been up about 20%. So it's been a significant rebound that we've seen ever since hitting that $17.06 mark, right at the bottom, to now trading around like the 24.03 mark. And as of Friday, it closed about 1.7%. So which, is showing a lot of bullish signal with respect to the stock right now. So I'm going to go through a technical analysis again, just to recap on what happened before and also with respect to what's going to be happening in the foreshadow perspective going forward. I'm also going to give you guys my resistance level to look out for in case you want dollar cost average or build your position for the first time. And my price tag for year in 2021 as well. So stay tuned, stick around, let's make some money. Moving on to the technical analysis for Palantir, ticker PLTR, you can see that the company basically IPO on September 30th in the beginning and was trading around like the $10 mark. And then subsequent to that, because of a lot of the Wall Street affectation with respect to the Wall Street bet, and this company has been a very anticipated stock across Wall Street, knowing the fact that it has such a mystique, that's been cultivating for quite some time now, ever since the founding of 2004, right? And with respect to the recent, commercialization and obviously the shift of business model, shifting from traditionally working with government agencies like FBI, CIA, the Central Intelligence, and some other government agencies across the world, has always been kind of cultivating this like very unique secret sauce, and also on top of that with the Peter Thiel backing, with his collaborations with Alex Karp, cultivating a business that is relatively unique, right? Combining both business consultations and with their very secret sauce, technology analytics capabilities at the same time, right? So it's been building this like relatively unique modes around the value proposition of the company, right? Which subsequently, with all of those positive media affectations and also with respect to those like biannual or sometimes even quarterly demo days that we see from Alex Karp himself, right? Educating us on the sophistications of the platform and the product offering that they give, right? The Foundry and the Gotham, right? Which we've got a glimpse of like what are they doing, right? Which to this day I'm still relatively learning about what they're doing, because like their model is relatively unique and complex in terms of the technological capability. I do understand the value proposition of how that applies to obviously on a consultation perspective, right? Using analytics to basically go into the data, which most of the time a lot of companies have vast amount of data, right? And then synthesize the data with their technological capabilities to provide or synthesize insights that are easily digestible. Then you could subsequently make a viable or an efficient recommendations as a next step, right? So that could be helping with either mergers and acquisition, that could be helping with operational efficiencies, that could be helping with a lot of streamlining, that can subsequently, obviously improve the operational margin, which is the profit that the company will subsequently get, right? So that could be range from product development, that could range from supply chain, that could range from human capital even. So a wide range of different industries that the company can emerge in, and also with respect to the wide breadth of the industry, what can it does as well, right? So with respect to the whole media affectation, it pumped up all the way to the $30 mark from the basically the $10 mark. I actually bought in when it was IPO because I realized how undervalued at that moment it was, and I was very fortunate to even my sister, she has bought quite significant amount of her personal capital into this at this level, at the $11 mark, the $9 mark, right? And we rolled it all the way up to the $30 mark, right? And then subsequent to that, because of there was more consolidation, we also had like those like pump and dump type of news with respect to Palantir gaining a contract or losing a contract, and some of like Wall Street media affectations around like those AMC type of push and pull type of momentum, right? Shifting stocks to growth stocks, and next day you put all your money into AMC stocks to pump it up. So it's a lot of manipulation that went on, right? And you could see how drastically that has manipulated around these time, right? You could see we were going from 25.60 all the way to the $45 mark. and that was majorly driven by human emotions and euphoria. At the same time, with respect to this, like, cult following hype that subsequently propelled that upward, right? You could see how extremely bipolar the MACD looked like, right? You could see how the RSI was extremely volatile at that moment, right? But ever since then, because of the whole sector rotations, right? Because of the sector rotation with respect to a hedge fund shifting stocks, their equity holding from more of the growth stocks like Palantir, which obviously is a growth stock, to more recovery stocks, right? Hedging for their economy to be coming back up, right? And also on top of that, a lot of the negative media affectations with respect to the tax adjustments that Biden is proposing for us, with respect to the monetary policies that is giving investors or residents of the U.S. Inflation scares, a lot of negative media affectations, also with respect to trade tensions that we have with multiple different nations, right, including China and some other countries as well, right? And so it's been kind of just percolating this negative pressure across the board, and you could see that we basically sold off all the way from the peak, right? And you could see the reason why we sold off is because whatever goes up really, really fast comes down really fast at the same time. This was basically a gap that needs to be filled, right? Whatever building or whatever stocks that goes up, you need to have consolidation for you to further erect the stock going forward. You don't just go up and away and hope that it will just keep going up and away. Any stocks are, think of this like a building blocks, right? You think of that like a foundational support for you to get to the next step, right? It's an escalator or a staircase that needs to be built upon block by block, right? You can't just go straight up with a ladder or shoot away with a gun, right? It doesn't work that way. So that's exactly what happened, right? We went up all the way, and then some people probably bought at the top because they were chasing the hype of the FOMO. Like, people were saying, I believe on YouTube, saying like, oh, Palantir is going to be $90 a stock, by summer, something, irrational or illogical like that, right? So, and with that whole FOMO, it create this like euphoric pump, and because of this euphoric pump, whatever stocks that's driven by emotions have no substance, right? Has no substantial consolidation support, right? Which is the term I keep mentioning over and over again, that it went down all the way, right? And also on top of that, you could see that we're currently consolidating on this spiral fashion right now. And you could see the spiral fashion is relatively more of like a downward staircase, right? You could see like step 1, step down 2, step down 3, step down 4. And then we're kind of walking back upstairs right now, right? And you can see the spiral is really driven by two things, right? With respect to the CPI report that we've been getting on the monthly basis, right? On every 15th or the 12th day, depending on their announcement of the dates that they release on the report. Every single time we have like a slight pump, right? People anticipating that the report will be relatively rosy, right? And then subsequently, when they see the actualization of the report, they get disappointed and then they sell off, right? Same thing happened again, right? They anticipate that the report will come out, and then they just get disappointed and sell off again, right? And also with respect to this time of the year, this was when Biden has proposed the tax adjustments, right? And we also got more news with respect to like the inflation scares that we've been getting, right? And now Fed is tapering at the same time. That also have a lot of negative correlations to the equity market as well, right? So, and ever since then, we sold off all the way to the 1706, and we're slowly reversing back up right now, right? And I think the reversal is relatively short term, to be honest with you, based on how the chart is set up right now. And I can explain why. So firstly, I think we are gonna be so we are currently testing the consolidation level right now, which is there's 2403 level that we have tested once, twice, bunch of times, 3, 4, 5. So we are at a fairly firm consolidation platform at the moment. So I foresee us to be like kind of consolidating right here at this level. And I think we will have a strong likelihood of like bouncing up and down around these levels right now, between like the 2127 verse and the 2403 level, right? And something that and I think the likelihood of like breaking through, all the way to the next level of resistance would be the 2747, would be unlikely because of the fact that just there isn't really a lot of substantiveness around these level, right? But if we do, that will be the next level that will be kind of floating around. We wouldn't, but for us to get there, first we need to just like break through the psychological resistance level right now, right? We are almost there, but we're not completely there yet, right? We need to get another couple cents more for us to confirm, right? Because you can see that the green candle is like relatively higher at the 24.86 level, right? So we need to get at least 50 cents more for us to confirm that reversal. Okay. So right now, I think what I see going forward, because next Thursdays has a major catalyst, right? We have the CPI report coming out on June 10th. I foresee we might potentially break through that level, because of the fact that most of the time when the CPI report is coming out, um, you know, media consensus or investors consensus is either two ways, binaries. Either they are anticipating that the report is going to go relatively good, so they anticipate by basically buying a couple days ahead of the report release, or they sell ahead of the report release because they think it's going to be a relatively mediocre or lukewarm type of report, right? So my my feeling is that they are going to feel that the report's going to relatively negative going forward, because of the fact that consecutively speaking, historically speaking, the report has always been relatively negative, and every single time you just have that anticipation that's going to go up, and then crash down like significantly way more, right? So you go up one times, but you go down like twice as hard, right? So I think this time people are catching on, and they're gonna anticipate that the report's gonna come out relatively lukewarm, and then so you're gonna have some selling pressure, I think, all across the week from like Monday to Wednesday, and then on that day off, I think because of the fact that it's gonna be a relatively negative pressure week, that it should have some sort of like buying pressure around like the Thursday mark when we release the report, and then people can be like, oh, it's not that negative, right? It's kind of like those like emotional roller coaster. It's very bipolar, right? But that's the way the report has on the market influence perspective, right? And also, in addition to that, why do I think it's a more of a bearish signal going forward? Is because of the fact that, just look at the MACD right now. You can see like we recently crossed, but with respect to the duration of the cross, we have been relatively dragged on already. So the likelihood of us like going back down again, and then just like recross in a subsequent time later on, as we learn more about the CPI report, would be more likely. Also, on top of that, the RSI is highly overbought right now at the moment on a daily perspective. So the likelihood of us like going back down to the 21, 27 would be a lot higher than going to the 25.44 level, right? So those are the level that I would personally dollar cost average at. I would buy at the $21, $27 level if we go back down. And I think the likelihood of like going back down would be like, I would give that like a 60-40 in terms of like probability ratio. Do I see us going back down to the 1839? Possibly, if we have a black swan event, or if we have an extremely negative, a substantively negative CPI report that we'll be getting, then yeah, I think we will totally get to that level and then rebound from there, knowing the fact that we have done that already, right? So redoing that again, it would just be another psychological support, right, for us to sustain that foundation as we build this company going forward, right? So those are levels to watch out for. Would I buy in at these levels right now to chase the pump that will go to the 25.44? I would personally stay away. That's just my risk appetite, but execute your trades based on your perception. Don't just listen to me purely based on what I say, right? Listen to yourself and use analytics, use financial analysis, understand the macroeconomic factors, understand what management team is doing on the microeconomic factors, and then apply that executions on your trade score. Okay, so just to recap on all the numbers that we just talked about in the technical analysis, I believe the fair valuation with respect to the stock right now, for you to dollar cost average at, would be at the $21.50 level. That's the psychological resistance that we've been forming, because we haven't reached that next level of the psychological resistance level, right? At the high peak, we still have like 50 cents to get there, right, for us to confirm that. And also on top of that, with respect to the MACD and the RSI, how overbought at the moment that we are at right now, So the risk is relatively higher than the rewards in that perspective. So I would be cautious if you were to to think about chasing or FOMO that the level of hype that we have had, even though we're up about 20% in this whole month so far since that rebound. And the next level of psychological resistance would be the $20 level, which is just a flat number, right? Most investors typically like to invest into these flat numbers. These are typically walls that are easy to crack down or easy to break up, right? So that's a level that we know for sure that we will rebound from. And if we even crash down even further because of a black swan event or like a really negative CPI report, or they lose a contract or something like exogenous like that, 1850 would be another bottom that will retest again, right? But that's just another reconfirming consolidation level that will build more substantiveness to obviously the company for a long-term gains going forward, right? And with respect to my 12 months target, I would give this a $55 based on my technical analysis and based on my discounted cash flow analysis. Projecting out the cash flow and the business developments that the company will be going forward, right? I'm gonna give this a relatively more conservative assessment in comparisons to Wall Street, which some investors even project that it's going to be a $90 shares going forward in the next 12 months. I think the likelihood for us to do that would be not the most logical in terms of how they're growing. It takes time for more commercialization adoption, right? And it takes time to obviously contract with government agencies, right? These are, it takes long durations per RFP, right? Basically, it's a request for proposal, right? So it takes a lot of time for us to go through the paperwork. It takes a lot of time for us to institutionalize and commercialize and expand and obviously educate investors and corporations on their value proposition, even though it's so unique, right? So I think that, and on top of that, with respect to just like a lot of tensions that we've been having globally speaking, it's something that we need to watch out for. So I would give this more of a conservative case. I don't want to be hyping the stock like, oh, it's going to be going $150 or $2,000 in the near future. I'm just giving you my conservative risk averse assessment based on what I know on the financial projections of the company going forward. That $55, generating 155% upside or 2.6 times your money isn't bad if you think about that in more conservative, right? I might be wrong, right? If we can grow at the level that some other people are saying, that's even better, right? Because ultimately, stock market is a popularity contest at the end of the day, right? It's mostly human psychological emotions, but with obviously business fundamental to build upon that thesis, right? But I would say the ratio is more like 70-30, right? So we might even be able to hype it up to that level that people are, foreshadowing. But how substantiveness and how consolidated are those level? That's something we need to testify and verify going forward. So hopefully that's helpful. So this is for today with respect to my technical analysis on Palantir, ticker PLTR. Hopefully you guys, enjoy the insights and the technical analysis on identifying the key resistance levels to buy or in dollar cost average at. Really appreciate your time and really appreciate your support like always. Please hit the like button, the subscribe, and also the bell notification. And please look up for my next video coming up. Take care.